Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 3, Second of His Name. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, and we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you feel like gambling, you can hit that bell down below, and YouTube may or may not notify you when I come on live. Best thing to do is go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I put up there. I change it every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages. And by the way, that schedule on there is not just what I'm doing this week too, but all the future stuff that's coming up. Like it's got a timeline of stuff. I actually just updated it last night, and there's a lot of shit coming out. So take a look at the future stuff there if you're unsure as to when your favorite show or movie or something like that's going to come out. I don't have everything up there, obviously, but I have the stuff that I'm interested, well, kind of sort of interested in. I know that some of you guys out there are interested in it as well. So that's what's up there. So spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you've not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. All right, I'm giving you enough time to pause, stop, whatever you need to do. All right. So we have another time jump. We jump ahead 3 years in this episode. So the first episode of the second episode, we jumped ahead 6 months. The second episode of the third episode, we jumped ahead 3 years. I kind of figured by the third episode of the fourth episode, we're going to jump ahead 18 years. I think that's the exponential how they do it at this point. Damon and the sea snake have been fighting the crab feeder for 3 years out in the stepstones, and it's not going well. Even though Damon has his dragon, basically the crab feeder is just hiding. He's just hiding in the yeah, that's all he's doing. He's just, whenever shit starts happening, he hides in the little rocks, in the caves and stuff like that to get away from the dragon. And that's it. He gets away from them. So yeah, and it's Prince Drahar is the crab feeder's name. So Prince Kragas Drahar, yes, something like that. So the king, on the other hand, is yeah, Viserys is basically he's got a son now, of course. So you know, he's really not taking care of the kingdom all that well. So Rhaenyra is still named as heir, even though he's got a son who's 2 years old. That's what second of his name is that his son is now 2 years old, so it's his second name day. And his name, of course, is Aegon. Aegon. There we go. Egon. Yeah. Anyway, so it's his second name day. So everyone is celebrating, and it's basically a festival, as the showrunners have said. If you watch at the very end of the credits, there's they kind of encapsulate the episode of what they were trying to do, and the celebration is something that people can set their calendars to, because it's something that happens once every year, and that's when the year happens, kind of thing, when the year begins and ends, kind of thing. There is a giant white stag that is seen, and supposedly it's a rare thing, and if you see it on your name day, kind of thing, it's supposed to be an omen. And Viserys has been he's a man of mythology, signs, dreams, things of that nature. And he's always wondered if he did the wrong thing by naming his daughter, heir to the throne. Because he had a dream once of a man taking the crown who is going to be a conqueror, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's so he thinks this white stag that has been seen out in the forest here on his son's name day is a sign, when really it's not. it turns out to just be a regular brown stag. Although the white stag is out there because Arena actually, Rhaenyra, there we go, thank you, takes off because she's pissed off. She has nothing to do at this point. She's just still kind of twiddling her thumbs. Allison is pregnant again with the king's second child. And Sarah Kristen Cole is basically he and Rhaenyra have gotten a little bit closer as we've seen in this 3 years. He goes after her when she takes off. They end up seeing the white stag at one point, and she just says, "Leave it alone, let it do its thing," and all that stuff. And um, but she is kind of perturbed that there's really nothing more for her to do. Her father keeps trying to set her up with marriages. She doesn't want to get married, although she's going to have to because she's a princess and it's her duty kind of thing. And her father keeps mentioning this to her. They have like a fairly public fight where he tells her, "Yes, I understand." He goes, "There's shit you don't want to do, but you got to do it. I have to do the same thing." He goes, "I can't, I'm not above it." He says, "And you need to do it." So, yeah, eventually she's going to need to get married. He does eventually come to a consensus and says, "Hey, if you can find somebody that you want to marry that is acceptable, go for it." In the meantime, he sent word out to the sea snake, his, I guess you could say, cousin-in-law at this point, and Damon, and he says, "Hey, I'll send you 10 ships and 2,000 men. That's all I'm going to do because I'm still not getting involved in the war here." And Damon gets the message and beats the fuck out of the messenger because that's all he can do. He's pretty pissed off. So he, out of desperation, what does he do? But rows in alone. He waves a white flag. He wants to get the crab feeder. He wants to bring him out to talk to him one on one. And instead, he ends up going on a suicide run, a suicide mission where he just starts killing the guys that the crab feeder have sent out to meet Damon. And there's archers that are on the ridge of the stepstones and all this stuff. They're firing down arrows at him. He finally does end up getting hit, and it looks like he's going to eat it because, I mean, the crab feeder just starts sending out lots of men that surround him at one point. And that's when the sea snake and his men start coming in. And then we see, I guess, a cousin of Damon's riding the dragon, which is not a euphemism, by the way, but and this he's literally riding the dragon, and the dragon ends up, taking down the archers, taking down the men that are around Damon, all this stuff. And the troops, Sea Snake's troops, come in and are mopping up the rest of the crab feeder's troops. And Damon goes in, of course, and kills the crab feeder and drags out half of his body, basically the upper half of his body. And because he was getting ready to lose control at this point. He People were deserting the army. They were questioning whether or not his leadership, why he was there, why he was going against the king's wishes, um, things of that nature. And of course, he was losing face, he was losing control, and he lost time. He didn't have any more time. He needed something big to happen. So that was his Hail Mary, if you will. Um, and so all of these people uh, have I guess you could say, a transformation in this episode where Damon, of course, the biggest one because of he kills the crab feeder and ends this fucking 3-year war that's been going on. Gets rid of that. That's happening in the Stepstones. Rhaenyra kills the boar, this gigantic boar that goes after her and Sir Cole, and comes back kind of, I guess you can say, incensed but transformed because her father's like, "You know what, you pick who you want to marry and that's going to be it." So she kind of sort of has a little bit of control over her fate. And then also Viserys also has his own transformation, I can say, where he realizes that the visions that he, or the dream that he had, wasn't a wrong choice. He just because he named Rhaenyra his heir for the throne wasn't a wrong choice. Uh, the white stag never appeared, to him at least. It was just a brown stag, so there were no omens for him. He and as far as he's concerned, he chose wisely, and he's okay with that at that point. So, yeah. So where do we leave off with all of this? Well, of course, Damon is in better standing now. Well, especially in the narrow sea over there. So because he's beaten the crab feeder. Uh, Rhaenyra is still in her same place, quite honestly, although she has more choices now of who she can choose to be her husband. And Viserys really is just, he needs to fucking make a decision. And he also needs to start governing his people a bit better, because you can tell that he's just basically throwing festivals, parties, whatnot, and ignoring shit that's happening, like, in the Stepstones. And if that's happening in the Stepstones, where that's been going on for 3 years, there's other parts of Westeros that there's other stuff that's going on that he's not really paying that much attention to. So shit's gonna rain down on him at some point in time here. So, and as the showrunners have said, this episode is supposed to signify the end of childhood. The end of innocence is what this is, and that you need to go into adulthood, is what they were saying. And yeah, so the time jumps aside. Even I could tell when they were talking about the time jump, and they're like, "How do we do this so that the audience is on board with us and goes along for the ride?" And they said, "This is the way we decided to do it," which means that they knew they had to go to this time jump, and it was a fucked up way, and it was the only way they could think of to do it. So yes, they know that it was a shitty time jump, and that it was a shitty way of doing the time jump. So for those of you who are following along out there, just be rest assured that the showrunners actually know that they did a shitty thing with that time jump. So and the time jumps in general, but it's something that they need in order to move the story along. And I guess to get to the story that they want to tell this season. I believe there's only 8 episodes this season, if I remember correctly. Let me take a quick peek, but I believe that is 11 episodes. I take that back. There are going to be 11 episodes this season. So yeah, it's 8 episodes of Lord of the Rings. That's what it is, and it's 11 episodes for House of the Dragon. So yeah, this isn't a great episode. Yeah, it really isn't. I don't know where this series stands right now, quite honestly. It kind of vacillates back and forth between wanting to do something better than Game of Thrones did, but they're following into the same pitfalls, I guess you can say, and the same traps, and they aren't building their characters well, quite honestly. Is this better than season 8? Well, season 8's a different animal, Raymond. Season 8 is a tie-up of, you know, a story, and it's a quick tie-up is what it is. This is, you're trying to introduce new characters into the same world, but earlier on than the world they had already set up for Game of Thrones. And in that respect, they're not setting up the characters well, because they keep doing these time jumps, and so you're never getting the character development that you got in Game of Thrones, where that first episode, if you go back to the Game of Thrones first episode, that set up so much and identified your characters like in cement for fairly quickly in that first episode. And this did not do this. This House of the Dragons is not doing that. Um, Damon is an interesting character, but he's still fairly one-dimensional. Rhaenyra, same thing. I mean, you're getting just one dimension of these characters. You're not getting an in-depth character portrayal. And again, you're 3 episodes in, but still at the same time, it's pretty Eh, yeah. I agree with you, Popeye Pliskin. They could have given the crab feeder a lot more to do. They could have done hit and runs on that throughout the entire season. Have him disappear and then have him reappear, and have him be part of a larger story, whatever the larger story is. I don't even know what the larger story is at this point, other than we're talking about succession to the throne. Basically, the way they're already approaching this is that Viserys is already dead, and that's kind of a weird way to start off your your new series where you have the king that is alive, but the way they are treating this is like he's already dead, and who's going to get to claim the throne while he's still alive, kind of thing. And that's where the problem, I think, lies within all of this. You don't have a clear cut story as to what was going on. Whereas for Game of Thrones, it was winter is coming. We know that the White Walkers were coming in. We knew that's what they're everyone was getting ready for. But at the same time, there was also the stealing of the throne. Um, all this kind of intrigue that was happening within the Westeros itself in King's Landing, and you're not really getting that with this show, I guess you could say. And Sirius says, God damn, they love their time jumps. They do love their time jumps in this show. Do you think we'll get an epic dragon battle? Probably, Raymond. We probably will. I mean, if the budget allows for it. Uh, Sirius says winter was coming for 7 years and they left in 7 minutes. It did. So yeah. But at least it was a plot point that everything was built around. Um, this I don't know what the plot point is, what your overall arcing story is supposed to be, other than there's people squabbling over who's going to get named to be the successor to the throne. And they're really not squabbling over it. They're just kind of like, I'm perturbed by it. Damn it. That's pretty much what it came down to. Yeah, I think that is the problem. And I'm just going to say this. I think that's the problem with George R. R. Martin's stories. Maybe. I haven't read them, but so far there's two distinct series, and both of them, I mean, one actually had a plot line to it, this one does not. So I don't know. Raymond says, I love the books, they are so good. Okay, so Martin is involved with this one. I don't know, we don't know what the plot is of all this season, other than, like I said, succession to the throne. Who's going to get named successor? Will it be Damon? Will it be Rhaenyra? Will it be Aegon? And I guess that's what they're going to get into in the next episode, episode 4. Is that's going to be the big question, and then you're going to start getting the political intrigue that everyone loves about Game of Thrones. Well, almost everyone. Yeah. So I honestly kind of find the political intrigue stuff boring, but that's just me. I know. I know. All right. So with that said, what else do I have going on for the rest of this week? Well, tomorrow is going to be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? It's going to be the Amazon Prime movie Samaritan, starring Sylvester Stallone. I'll be doing that tomorrow. Wednesday, I'll be off. Thursday is going to be a doubleheader of She-Hulk and Harley Quinn. That's right, She-Hulk and Harley Quinn. Friday is going to be Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Um, Saturday I'll be off, and then Sunday will be another episode of the Sunday edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the weekend, any genre stuff you guys want to talk about, and we talk about it. Hopefully, I actually get to it this time. Yeah, sorry about yesterday. It's just, yeah, my head was just fucking killing me. Am I covering Rick and Morty? No, Raymond. I don't cover Rick and Morty. Uh, Rick and Morty, the fan base is just way too fucking rabid, and just toxic. I mean, just completely rabid and toxic. So I just stay away from it completely. So yeah, I will talk about it here and there, but I won't I'm not going to literally cover any of those. Sorry. Sirius says, but those White Walkers were coming for like 1,000 years. We even built that big wall, and the wall finally falls. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know, Sirius. It was all built up. I can go into it, but I'm not going to. Yeah. Anyway, with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go. Sirius says on the bright side, if the show doesn't soar, it can't crash. Not like that. I don't know, Sirius. I know they already greenlit it for a second season. So it's not like, you know, it's HBO Max, it's Warner Brothers, Discovery Plus, whatever you want to call it now. This is their big item, their big ticket item. So they're going to keep it going for as long as they can, even if it sucks. So, yeah. All right. With that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the rest of the day. Thank you to everybody who joined me today in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, you know who you are out there. I see you. You in the back. Yeah. You over there. Uh-huh. Take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'll be on live again next, go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I put up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. No, Morks is subscribed. Yeah, I know. He might not be dressed, but that's Morks for you. Thanks, everybody. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may get stuck in a time jump that's going ahead 3 years, and then it's going to go ahead another 18 years. I don't know how long it's going to jump, but hopefully we're done with the time jumps now at this point, and we just move on with our lives at a normal pace. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, get the boosters as well. They don't work without the boosters. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Have a good rest of your night or day or Labor Day or whatever it is that you're doing in your part of the world. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night and take care, everyone. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.